Hello guys, today I'm going to start a new series in the channel, in which I will talk about different scripts. I will show you just one script per video. I will tell you everything I know about that specific script. At the beginning I will choose the scripts on my own, but I'm always open to suggestions. If there is a specific script that you would like me to make a video about, let me know in the comments and I will do it when I can. There is a playlist on the channel in which you can see all the videos I made about scripts so far. There are also videos telling the basics about scripts, what they are, where to get them, and how to install. This playlist is in the cards for you. Check it out later. The script we are going to talk about in this video is the TM Traders Calculator. I will put the link for it in the comments in case you need it. When I go to its homepage, this is what I see. We can see the publishing date, the last update of the script, and some other things, which I will not go into details now. Oops, sometimes it happens. But yeah, in this script there were no issues. Of course, we also see the creator as well, who we should be very grateful for making this script for us. This guy. He has published many scripts, as you can see here. So I am probably going to mention him many times in this series. I couldn't find his team though. I heard that he doesn't play the game anymore. If any of you guys have more information about him, please tell me in the comments. The name of the team he had in the past was this one. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I think it's Borgo Cervaro Caucho Champagne. Something like this. If you ever watched this video, man, thank you for your work. You helped many players. Let's see how the script works now. This is the page without the script. And if I update, so that you can see the difference with the traders calculator, this part appears. Only this part is the traders calculator. It is actually a very simple script. It's useful for you to estimate some future aspects of a player. This word is important, estimate. This is just an estimation, not an exact prediction. This script is useful to help you in the development of your players, but you can only use this script well if you understand how the development of players work. There is a playlist in the channel dedicated to this topic, the development of players. Check it out to improve your knowledge. It's in the cards here. Here in the script we have some fields at this line. These are current aspects of the player. Here is the season in which we are, season 8, week 11, 80, week 11. This is the age of the player, as you see here, 24.7. This is his Q index, as it's shown here, his bank price, if I wanted to sell him to the agent, and his maximum price. All of these are current aspects of him. This column here, I will explain later, in a moment, because for now this value doesn't mean anything. Just ignore it. I will explain to you very soon. On the top here you have the places where you should input the values. You should put how many weeks you want to simulate, the average training intensity of the player that you want to include here, and this just tells the level of your training grounds. In the case of my team, I have training grounds 10. That's why it's like this here. You see some values here already. I didn't put them here. Whenever you update the script, there will be some values here, but they don't actually mean anything. Okay, for example, this amount here, it says this one first, times 8. Initially I thought that maybe it meant the number of weeks passed in the current year of the player. Like this one, for example, he's 24 years old, and in this age he has 8 months or 8 weeks, like 7 plus the week when he completed 24, so 8. It would make sense, right? And here I thought this could be, maybe, his average TI during these 8 weeks. Because if I go to his graph and I check his last training intensities, I will see like 13, 11, 10, 11, 14. I didn't check the amount, but 12.5 seems to be a reasonable value. Could be this. But then I compare to other players and I see that this result is not so close. In this one, for example, you see that the weeks here are always 6. You see here times 7, okay, makes sense. And in the average TI, you see 6.5. This doesn't make sense because look, his last training intensity is 4, 4, 5, 1. He has never been even 6. Then his average cannot be 6.5. It's wrong. If I check other player, this one, in his case, it's even 0. Okay? But he is training, so it couldn't be 0. Understand? The 12 is right, once more. Okay? But in this last one, both are wrong. First, this number here says 49, but if you check his TI, he's getting like 18, 17, 18. He has never been over 30. Okay? So it could never be 49, the average. And this one, this part here is wrong too, this time. See, it should be 8, following the same logic as the previous guys. Then I would advise you to simply ignore these values, this one here and the ones you see here. I don't think they mean anything. At least I cannot understand. If you know, any of you know, how to read them, please tell me in the comments. I would also like to know. We are learning together here. There are lots of things that I simply don't know or don't understand. Let's make some simulation now. I'm back to the first guy I picked, and let me show you his graph. Through his graph, I can see that he's a late bloomer, as he started blooming at the age of 22, and I know that he's in the third year of bloom, because you can clearly see here, first year, second year, third year of bloom, okay? And I want to estimate how these aspects of him will be when he finishes his bloom. Okay, since he is in the last year of bloom, he's currently 24.7. Let's then put here 4 weeks, which is what he has to the end of his bloom, like 11 minus 7, 4. And we have to put an average TI. Let me see how much he's getting lately. 14, 11, 10, 13. I will put 12. Seems like a good estimation. Okay. Then I click go, and the script will calculate all the aspects for me 4 weeks later or 4 months later in his life. They will say that by then it will be the season 81 already, the third week of the season. He's going to be 24.11. This is going to be his Q index, his future bank price, and his maximum price. Now I can explain this extra column to you. This part here means the wage, the accumulated wage, which is his current wage times the number of weeks you put here. In this case, I put 4, so after these 4 weeks, I will have paid this amount for him in wages. And this here is how much profit I can make if I sell him after these 4 weeks. They take this bank price, they deduct the sales tax. As you remember, I explained in previous videos. We have a 6% tax on every sale we make. So they take this value, they deduct 6%, and they subtract this amount that you spent with wages. Then you get this. Understand? This bank price here was the price I would sell him today without the deduction. If I want to be the real amount that I would gain if I sell him now, I should take this 55 and deduct 6%. However, this information here about the wage is not so precise because you may know that at the beginning of each season, the salaries are updated. Every players have their salary updated based on their current skill index. Since it's a blooming player, his skill index increased a lot during the season. Then, after the economy update, this wage will increase considerably. If I calculate as if I would pay 4 weeks of this salary, it's not correct. I'm underestimating it because I'm only gonna pay this salary for 2 more weeks. I have the next week, which is the last one of the season. Then in the first week of the next season, I still pay this salary. But for the second and the third week of next season, I will pay the new salary, okay, which I should calculate. Then, if you just want to do an estimation, you can use this value, but have in mind that it's not accurate. If you want to be more accurate, then you have to take this value, which is the price you could sell him, deduct 6%, then you subtract 2 weeks of this salary and 2 weeks of the new salary, the new wage, and you have to manually calculate the new wage. I will write it down for you to better understand. It seems complicated, but it's actually very simple. Let me show you. I'm going to use Excel to make things faster and more practical. Here I have the current wage that I just showed you and how many weeks of this wage we should pay. Here I simply multiply. Okay. Now I have to calculate his new skill index and then the new age. Let me go back there and check the new skill index. To do that, instead of considering 4 weeks, I will put here just one because there is just one more training this season. When the season update comes, this is going to be the skill index considered to calculate the new wage. Here I have the new skill index already, and to calculate the new wage, I multiply the skill index by 15.8079. This is the equation used. Okay, so this is his new salary. I will pay him this salary for 2 weeks, so I multiply this by 2, and now here I can obtain the total wage. Okay, and after I have the total wage, I put here the bank price we saw before already. I take this. First, let me calculate the bank price after taxes. What we actually receive, 2.94 because I'm deducting 6%. Then my profit will be this minus this. Okay? Now let's see how much I would receive if I sell the player now. This is his current bank price. I deduct 6%. Is this. Then I calculate the difference. And that's it. It means that if I hold this player for 4 more weeks instead of selling him now, I would get this amount of profit. Understand? This is considering that I'm selling him to the bank price. He's a good player, so obviously I'm not going to sell him for agent price. But this is just for you to understand how to use the trader's calculator. You don't always need to do that in Excel and stuff, only if you want to be more precise. In most situations, you don't really need to. Here you have one more information, which is supposed to be, in the case of this player, his TI at the age of 23. Okay, that's how I understood it. But this number is actually not correct. Like here they say 13.7. But if I go to his graph, at the age of 23, he was 13. It's close, but it even seems acceptable. But if I check other player, for example, this one, he finished his bloom already. So let me put here 4 and 5 weeks, for example. Then here they tell me that his average TI is 10. No, his TI at the age of 22 is 10.8. But if I check the graph, at the age of 22, his TI was 21. See? Then this value here is not accurate. I don't know if I'm not understanding it well or if it's just not working. If any of you know, let me know in the comments. Since it doesn't seem correct, I will tell you just to not use it. There is one more thing that this script allows me to see, which I'm going to show you real quick to finish the video. But this has to be shown in a different theme. For example, let me pick this theme. I will then choose a random player from here and use the trader's calculator on this player. Can be this one. What I want to show you is this. See here, on my training ground, when I was using that on my player, this was not available, see? But now it is. It works like this. If I put here, for example, 12 of training intensity for a player and simulate for 6 weeks, they say that the training ground of this club is level 5. Okay? If he was in my training ground, he would have not 12 but 16.0 of TI because my training ground is level 10. Understand? Just this extra thing. The rest is normal, the whole calculation. That's all for this video, guys. If you have questions, write them down below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. See you soon.